Good evening. Good evening. We're here. Y'all know I'm not normally on at this time, but we got a few things to chat about. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling in your spirits? It's Tuesday evening. You guys know I'm not on in the evening unless I'm here for a reason. I do have a few guests because we are couple of days away from the healing experience. We definitely want to make sure that we show each of the panelists, everyone who's helping us put this event on. We're definitely going live to have these conversations and to pretty much get you guys excited and like a taste of what we're going to be doing on Saturday. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So let me go ahead and invite the people in. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Yo.
You know I don't know how to do it for real. I'd be having to do it a few times.
You did what?
I'd be having to do it a few times because
You know, if
I'm like,
y'all said.
mm-hmm. How you doing, Erica? How's life?
Man, life is life right now. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna sit here and act like everything is absolutely stellar and amazing right now because it's not. But I am grateful. That's what I will say. I'm hella grateful because everything that we have been like laboring for, I'm so excited to see the fruit of this labor.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. In the grieving process. So it's all of that that's going on, but there's just a lot of gratitude. So I don't have really much to complain about, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand.
For sure. How are you?
You know, you see, I got these patches on. You know, I'm over here. I'm good. Now I'm a little tired. I'm not gonna hold you. A little tired, but I'm here. You see, I got my patches. In a second, I'm gonna get this J roller popping, okay? Because it's gonna be time to go to bed for me after we're done with the live, okay?
I feel that. What's up, Cleveland, Ohio? What's up, everybody? What's up, y'all?
Okay, yeah, no. So Brian and Jeremiah, whenever you guys join, just request me. You have to request me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
Okay.
let's see you.
Okay. Send the request to me once you guys get on.
And you guys, if y'all have any questions, hit the Q&A box at the bottom.
Yeah.
The little comment box with the questions or whatever.
Someone put a question mark. Healing X ATL. So the X is Healing Experience ATL. This is happening on
You can't heal from your exes, though.
You can. What? What? Now wait a minute. Now we're not trying to heal your ex. Okay.
I said you can heal from your exes. Okay. Your exes can come too.
Come to the healing experience to heal from your ex. We all done had an ex that ran us down through there. Or you might have been the ex that ran somebody down through there. Whatever side you find yourself on, come get this healing, okay?
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, you done dated trifling, raggedy ass.
Listen, if you done dated a Scorpio, okay, you need to come to the healing experience.
Why y'all gotta do Scorpios like that, man?
Child, why they gotta do us like that? X or three now. You got 3 exes you need to heal from. You need to come get some healing so we can choose better partners, okay?
No, that's real talk, though.
I'm just saying.
That's real talk. This is for all the people who keep dating the same type of person, but they just have a different face. Y'all come on through.
Come on in.
Come through.
Hold on, wait. So my other lovely darling.
Yo.
Yes.
Hey.
What's up?
Hi. Okay, first of all,
look good on the camera.
When I see you guys, like,
look good.
Oh
What
my
it is?
God, I just love you guys so much.
Good.
Y'all done got me out here in an IG live. I have never been on IG live.
The same. I've never
You
done
know-
live.
You did it, friends?
You two ought to be ashamed because the people need to see y'all more. Okay.
Listen, they need to see y'all face. So I'm
Yes.
trying to put y'all on a poster. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So y'all might have started something.
Yes. I love this. I love this for our IG live virgins here. Okay. All the
Great.
We're just
This
going
is
to have
great.
a very, brief conversation. We all know that the healing experience is happening on Saturday, and we have certain people that we're bringing together to be able to impart something from either their experience, their expertise, what we know and what we do into the lives of the people that need it. So I'm super excited because I feel like with the two of you guys, there is such a spiritual energy with the both of you guys. And I know, Ryan, we were talking about you earlier. It's like, I woke up this morning, I was up at 5 a.m. praying over Saturday. And I talked to Courtney.
Come on.
She said, now listen, I
Come
talked to
on.
Ryan, and he said,
That's
Come on.
right.
let
Come
me
on.
just make sure I am in order. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to be out of order, but I will let you guys introduce yourselves and just give us a little bit about you. So Ryan, if you want us to go first, I'm totally open to that so that the people can know who you are.
I'll keep it super brief. First of all, thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to join you on the live tonight and to be a part of the healing experience on Saturday. To say that I'm excited and eager for Saturday to come is kind of like an understatement. Really looking forward to it. So for everybody that's on the live, I'm Ryan. Born and raised St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Been in Atlanta since I was 14. Morehouse College graduate.
Graduate.
Consultant.
Okay. I didn't just attend. I graduated.
But you gotta do them like that. Don't do the HBCUs like that.
I always got to throw that in there. By trade, I am a consultant. So I work in the federal consulting industry, and then I have my own consulting firm as well. And then just me being me, I just love being a servant to people. I was going to say a minister to people, but I like serving because that word minister is actually to serve. And so that's what I feel like my ultimate calling is, just to serve people in any capacity that I can. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, Ryan. Hey, Jeremiah.
Kenny. All right, so I am Jeremiah. I'm a regular smuggler girl from Georgia. I'm from Waynesboro, Georgia, very small town. But lived in Atlanta for about 6 or 7 years. I went to school, but also stayed. My degrees are in psychology, African American studies. So I've always kind of been an advocate for mental health, particularly for our people. My day-to-day, I work in HR, so managing people, that just kind of goes with who I am. But outside of work, I essentially kind of just flow. What I've really been doing, really seeing, I like to connect with great people, which is how I met Kenya, which is also how I arrived at the Healing Experience.
Yes.
And of course, to Mira Ryan, first of all, I'm super grateful to know Kenya. We've been able to hold on to our friendship and let it grow just naturally through these years. And then secondly, to be involved in such a event I'm super excited about. A little nervous too, because it's the first time doing something of the sort. But just being in the space with you guys already, I was super comfortable. And so I am just ready to see what Saturday is going to bring. So, yeah, man.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Now, I have a question. I want to start with Ryan. I want to ask you about spiritual, a lack thereof spiritual growth. Like, what do you think are the biggest things that happen to us that keeps us able to grow or be like spiritual mature? Let me put it that way.
Well, let's just dive into the deep questions.
Come on. She
so
did. I said, oh, okay. We jumping out the gate. All
Look,
right.
that just made me super comfortable because all the while I'm looking at the camera, I'm like, Lord, is my shirt fine and all this kind of stuff. But I'm putting all of that aside, and now it's time to talk. So I think that there are a few different factors or elements that can contribute to maybe our lack of spiritual growth. But I think the one that I want to hone in on for the sake of this conversation, or that comes top of mind, is our experience. Whether that experience has come from other people, whether our experience has come from someone, whether our experience has come from an institution that has caused us to draw back, that has caused us to feel like we're not worthy of a relationship with God, that has caused us to feel, all of these different kind of things, the perceptions, the things that we have to unlearn. So there's so many different factors that cause, maybe a lack of spiritual growth. But I think that, this also just came up in my heart. Yourself can be that element that causes the lack of spiritual growth, because something in and of ourselves, as we kind of go through life feeling like we are not worthy, nobody else has had to tell you that you're not worthy or whatever the case may be. You have come up with this, I'm not worth this exploration of a deeper spiritual journey. I'm not worth a connection with God. I am not, like somebody else. I'm not on the same level of somebody else. I can't pray like somebody else. I can't study like somebody else. I can communicate like somebody else. So all of these different things is so funny, because all of these elements are trying to hinder you from the very thing that will cause you to be the authentic you that you were created to be.
Yes.
Come on.
And you got to be able to break past yourself. You got to be able to push past all of these other things, and you got to go, and we talked a little bit about this, you got to go to the source, because until you can connect to that source, you will never really truly be until you can connect to who created you to be.
Now,
so
let me
that's
tell you
my
now.
thought.
This part.
We talked about this on that podcast where I said, you know what? I got away from the well. Well, and I had to go back to the source, because you cannot be, the further you are from it, the further you are from yourself. Like, you're one and the same. You and source are one and the same. And that's my spirit right there.
Yeah.
That's my spirit.
I'm gonna bounce this question just going deeper. Like, what are some, and maybe Jeremiah, you can start, like, in a world that it just seems like there's just so much going on. Like, there's a lot that's happening in life. People's personal lives are lifing on a global scale. Life is lifing, and there's all of these, I feel like, antics a little bit, like from entertainment stuff that's happening to different messages that are just kind of being communicated as far as what to believe or how to feel about the things that are going on. So I'm just curious to, how do you guys stay connected in a world that seems like it's so loud? There's so much noise that's going on. I know that, like, a part of being connected is you got to go and get away and kind of tap in. So, like, what does that look like for you guys?
Ooh, I think particularly present day, I think one of the hot topics is, I know me and Kenny have talked about it, social media. And when you talk about how we get a lot of our news, how we get a lot, or we hear about a lot of incidents going on, you want to be in the know, but then sometimes it can be overstimulating.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the only thing that really is taking up all the mental space in your mind. So for me, you'll find that I'm somewhat inconsistent on social media, because I have my times where I am a bit heavier on it, you know what I'm saying? Then times I need to maybe take a step back for a few weeks or so. But I'm finding my balance. It's becoming less and less, because I am finding that balance. And what it is me really curating my timeline. And I think curating your timeline isn't just for social media, it's really just for all facets of life.
Yes.
We talk about diet, we're not just talking about food, we're talking about what you consume, whether it's something you're watching, whether it's something you're listening to. So when it comes to, how can I kind of keep myself grounded in the midst, how can I stay balanced in the imbalance? One, to Ryan's point, you have to have some type of contact with what you believe to be source. And of course, I think in this day and age, if you pay attention, it's very, very rare do you not see us with earphones in our ear. Sometimes you may just need to go for a walk without earphones. Sometimes you just need to sit in the sunlight. It's really the simplest things. Like, you wonder why our grandparents, great-grandparents sit on the porches and just rock back and forth. When I tell y'all, if everybody had like 15 minutes to sit on their porch and just rock back and forth, if they had a porch, I promise you the world will be a better place. Just
Yes.
because at that point in time, when you're in this world of you're hearing about what celebrities are doing, you're hearing their opinions, you're hearing about people you don't know, you're hearing their opinions day in, day
Yes.
out. When you shut all that out, you get to, oh, wait a minute. Have I actually called and talked to my cousin today? Have I actually talked to my siblings? What do I have going on that's actually within my reach? Because so much of what we are consuming is putting our attention to things that really have very little to do with us. And of course, not to say social media definitely doesn't have its pros, but of
Yeah.
course, as anything, it's a double-edged sword. So really, it's just striking and finding that balance, finding what works for you. For me, I like Instagram, TikTok. Twitter, I've been easing back a lot because I'm just finding that it's for me, it doesn't align very well. So I may post pictures, but as far as kind of like jumping in and really kind of, I guess being more social, and sometimes people are going to take offense to it. Sometimes people are like, oh, all you do is post pictures. You're not really. I can't be here for that because it pulls something out of me because I'm seeing what y'all are saying
Yeah.
and I don't agree. But you know what? I can't let y'all pull me out of character and
Yeah.
then have a record of it on my timeline. You know what I'm saying? Kenya, what are you just talking about? Aries, how we have to be like, hold on. Let me keep it together. So you have to really let me figure out
Yes.
how I can keep my character, keep my composure. And also it's be healthy. The thing about it is when you work from a healthy space, you make
Yes.
better decisions
Yes.
overall. So that comes
Yes.
with discernment when you're talking about, well, what deserves my attention? That's when discernment steps into the picture. So it's really about kind of keeping yourself fine tuned so you can see what is and what is not for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
I think
gonna
the
say
worst.
this one thing. Oh,
Go
go ahead,
ahead, Ryan.
Kenny. Mm-mm.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
See, y'all should have never had me on live, but I'm gonna just say this one thing that just came up in my heart that you can't control the frequency, but you can control the volume.
Mhm.
Mm,
So you can't
mm,
control what's
mm.
happening, but all you gotta do is to either turn up the volume of a thing or turn it down. You
Yes.
control the volume.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the piece that I wanted to add to that.
Mm.
And I think that's just
That-
so succinct. And what I was
Wow.
gonna say behind Jeremiah was just it's insane the amount of information that we consume, be it social media, be our personal relationships, whatever the case may be, that does not serve us. We
Yeah.
are subscribed to and heavily connected to things that do not serve this self that can be balanced in the imbalance because it is so much that's going on. And we're constantly connected to these external feelings, thoughts, emotions, experiences, and then it's difficult to decipher yours from what you're consuming. So then when we're really thinking about like how do I keep myself balanced, is there a separation between me and what I'm consuming?
Hmm.
Is this
Mm. Mm.
my feeling or is this a vicarious feeling that I picked up from what somebody else thinks or what somebody else's feel?
Mm.
This is somebody else's pain, somebody else's trauma. Is this mine? Because we
Mm.
are human beings and we're like sponges and we absorb energy. And some of us are more sensitive than others. So if you're a sensitive person, you're absorbing way more than some other people. The more
Yeah.
aware you are, it's like your antenna is always up. You're picking up everything. When your spirit is discerning, you are discerning everything around you. And it's so, like Jeremiah said, it's so overstimulating where it's like, I gotta step back.
Yeah.
I have to disappear. I have to like retreat and come out of the noise to really be able to release what I've been picking up that's not mine, to really understand how do I feel? What does balance look like for me? Is this serving me or not? It's
Yeah.
difficult to figure out when you're in the
Yeah.
noise. And
Mm.
we're in the noise. We've been in the noise for a very long time.
Hmm.
Whew. I mean, y'all been saying a mouthful. I mean, because I think about like, and I mean, I can keep the track rolling just as far as even just spiritually. Kind of how are you guys managing to stand up as believers in, I think, spaces that are kind of calling for voices? Like I was talking to Kenny the other day, and I was just like, man, it is just a challenge to feel like as a queer, like masculine Black woman to have to speak out on so many different issues, right? And my heart is like, you know, there's things that are happening in Gaza, there's things that are happening in Congo, there's things that happen in Sudan, and it's like, as a believer, you know, you want to like continue to advocate, but at what point, you know what I'm saying, do you hold space for your own energy
Ooh.
and to reserve like what's for you? You know what I mean? And I just have been, so what you guys are saying is just really good, even just for me personally, because sometimes as a leader, it's so much demand for you to kind of speak up in all of these different places and to kind of insert your voice. And I've just been kind of finding to stay tuned to what Spirit is speaking to me and focus on echoing what Spirit is saying to me in that moment and in that space, and trusting that us as a collective, that if we continue to stay tuned to what Spirit is speaking to us, then we will begin to echo and speak into those spaces that need those voices. But understanding that, I think sometimes for me personally, I can take on like a savior mentality sometimes, where I feel like I got to kind of come to the rescue for anything and everybody, right? And I know that I think a part of that when I was in therapy, just kind of looking at like my own trauma responses and things like that. But that's really good. I'm just curious to like, how are you guys just even managing like from a believer standpoint, or just having the heart of God standpoint of like all of the different things that are just kind of happening in the world and your response? I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to ask.
No,
I
it
think it does. I would say for me, I first I had to go back to Ryan's point. Um, Staying in touch with source. And then I also believe that when you hear something consistently from maybe friends, from strangers, just from people in general, I believe that's a way that the universe or God speaks to you about what your gifts may be. And for me, I've always felt like I have a different way of kind of expressing things, and also being able to do it in a way that's graceful, that can come across as not being biased or having an agenda, but just saying, this is what I'm seeing and this is how it's making me feel. But what do y'all think? And also using comedy as a way to kind of, make it a bit lighter.
Yep.
And to your question specifically, Erica, about when do I speak out? I speak out when it's on my heart to speak about a particular thing that's going on. So obviously, I think we all have feelings about many of the things that we see happen on social media, obviously. And then, of course, to your point again, often, particularly if you have a platform, people are demanding or almost expecting you to speak out about every little thing. But before I am obligated or responsible to y'all, I'm obligated and responsible to myself. I can't pour from an empty cup. So
Come
if
on, say it,
I'm not
sir.
here together, I can't give y'all anything that I just don't have. Or if I do, it won't be authentic and it won't be effective.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to be okay being misunderstood. The people who are for you, they're going to understand. Because my friends who I talk to day in, day out, they definitely know when I'm not online, when I am online, while I'm pissed about not being online at the moment. Like, they know everything. Well, of course, people on the outside, watching, are kind of like, you didn't say anything about this, but you're saying something about this. Well, first of all, why are you watching me so much? I don't understand. Like, what's the tea? And secondly, how do you feel about it? Like, if you feel this way, then say your opinion. But you really, again, one, you have to be fine being misunderstood. Two, if it's for you to speak up, if you feel like it's been laid on your heart to speak up about it, I feel like God leads you to say things that people really need to hear. Maybe can even like deal with a bit and kind of deal with them, so to speak. So I just don't think that you should kind of spout off just to be heard, though that is very popular on social media. But again, I think that if you are led, you'll know when the time is right for you to speak about particular things.
Yeah. And I want to kind of introduce a concept that may be a little contradictory in a sense, but hopefully when I share it and I explain it, it makes sense. Don't allow compassion to become a distraction. And what I mean by that is compassion is the place in and of ourselves that from us to somebody else. But compassion that's outside of the confines of this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to talk to. This is what I'm supposed to say at the time when I'm supposed to say it, can then become a distraction to your purpose. Even
I hope y'all
though
picking
it's
this up, boy.
even though it's
I hope y'all picking up what
in
they
and of
saying.
itself,
Okay, go ahead.
even though in and of itself, it's like, it's right because I'm doing stuff for somebody else. I'm, all of that. But if that's not what you're supposed to be saying, if that's not the timing, if that's not the right cup to receive what you're pouring, even though it might be from a good place from you, it can become a distraction for your purpose and even for them, because when you release it, it'll be released without power. And I'd rather release one word with power than a bunch of words that really have no impact.
Yes.
So just be cautious, of that. So hopefully that made sense.
That does
No.
make sense.
Jump on it, Ken.
It
I know
totally
I know
makes sense.
you would jump on it.
Well, my thing is, because I again, it feels like the world is on fire. So you feel compelled to say, like, you need to say something. You need to stand against it. You need to fight. And I know one question that I've had to ask myself is, where is your front? Because every front is not for you to fight on. And I think that we understood that from movements. We look at the civil rights movement. Everybody was not fighting on the same front. People were doing music. People were marching. People were doing speeches. People were in the streets. People were grassroots. There were so many different fronts that people were on. And I had to ask myself, where it's like, okay, because when the pressure starts to get to you, people are like, oh, you're not saying this, and you're not speaking about that, and whatever the case may be. And it's like, but I know how I pray at night about things. I know how I pray about the intercession, even though I'm not saying anything. There are plenty of people who are doing work that are not just, and some people are on social media and they're speaking about things and they're speaking from the right places, where some of it can be performative. Because you see the post, you just want to repost because you see other people doing it. And it's not, to Jeremiah's point, coming from an authentic space. And to Ryan's point, when I can sit with the rage, because anger is a very powerful energy. And when I can sit with that rage and I can speak about it, write about it, work with it at the time that I need to, in the ways that I need to the people that I need to Ryan's point, if I can do it where it's most potent, that's what matters. So not to feel the pressure to speak when it's not my time, or to do it in a way that's not authentic to me. That's not how God is calling me to address this issue. This is not the front that God is calling me to. I have to understand that. And that's where, again, being close to the source, being able to discern the spirit and understand this, because timing is huge. Timing is huge. And not that there is, let's not get confused where it's like, when is the right time to speak against whatever? Like, let's just address that, because that's not what I'm saying. But I think that the manner in which we do it, because some of us are speaking out, we just not speaking out to where you can hear it, and it's not for you to hear. We're talking to somebody else. You see what I'm saying? We're not talking to you. We're talking to somebody else. I think that we just have to be very discerning about how we do it, and just not pressure, because again, we have to manage the expectations of, and I know there was a huge thing for me in this season, is managing the expectations of, we think about platforms and, how people look at us, and manage the expectations of the platforms we built and of these images that people have of us. I am a whole human being under everything. I am not an image. I am a human, and I'm going to manage expectations at all times of this image and this perception of who y'all think I am. Nobody has that agency over me except for me. And I'm going to manage the expectations of everything around me. And that's just what it is.
That's good.
If I could say something, Ryan, when you're speaking about empathy, there's a pretty popular quote going around that says, empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. And I think that kind of underscores exactly what you're saying. Like, you have to have yourself in a place to be able to serve before you can do so. And Kenya, to your point, When it comes to, when do I speak out or should I speak out about every little thing? I think too sometimes we have to realize, even when we think about civil rights or any type of movement, that different types of personalities and people are needed to lead on different fronts. Where
Yes.
I may be someone who can be a bit more neutral to kind of be a mediator. You need
Yes.
people who are just fiery, who
Yes.
don't want to hear from the other side to lead particular
Yeah.
strikes. You need every single personality. So if you're always speaking up, you might be speaking over somebody who actually can be a bit more effective and
Yes.
actually have a community as well.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Now you see you just going down a whole nother alley because
Go ahead,
like,
get to it. Get to it. Get to
um,
it.
I was listening to something recently, and one of the points that really stood out to me, because I can remember sitting in a church at a certain point in my life and feeling self-conscious because I was not the person running around the church. I was not the person that was, shouting and clapping and just like, I remember just feeling like, okay, is the Holy Spirit skipping my street? Is it just not coming over me, but it's coming over everybody around me? Like, what is going on? And when I heard that this past week, it just really was like affirming, where it's like you really do have to understand your temperament when it comes
Yeah.
to spirit. Because some of us, to Jeremiah's point, you are the fire, but some of us are the cool head that can be that mediator between, opposing parties, that can create the space for us to hear each other and to start watering the seeds of understanding, where some of us need to be Malcolm X. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need to be out here ready to put rubber to the road. We ready to throw hands. We ready to shoot a fade. But that's not everybody's temperament. And I think that maybe that's not something that we understand as a culture, because we are expecting us to be not unified. What word am I trying to say? We need to be unified, but we don't need to all be doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing in the exact same way. But we all need to be moving towards a collective goal, but not expecting all of us to be approaching it the same way.
Agreed.
I think that's like the crux of like what we're saying, because there is a lot again, but I think just the times are just so emotionally and energetically charged that it's like you just have to get it out some type of way. So sitting with it can be really hard. Like sitting with the feelings and the energy, and y'all waiting on that time for that timing to be right, where it's
Yeah.
just
Yes. It
mm,
requires a level of, I don't know, a certain capacity, especially for those of you all out there who feel like you're, what do they call them, empaths, or you just have a
mhm.
lot of feelings, feel a lot of energy, you feel a lot of emotions, especially when you feel tongue-tied and you don't really have a way to express. There is an importance in waiting. I remember like being a person that is an influencer in the music industry and just kind of rubbing shoulders with just a lot of different people. I remember just kind of communicating with some people about like where I stood with a lot of the public issues that are out. And that's where Spirit just really began to remind me that I am just an echo of what God tells me to say.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's not in me to say it right then and there. It doesn't mean that I don't feel it, right? And it doesn't mean that the people on here, you guys who are in the chat and stuff, it doesn't mean that you may not feel it, but just because you don't have maybe the words formulated just yet, or the method and how God has spoken to release, doesn't mean that you don't care or that you're smaller or you're not a part of this awakening really that's happening. I truly believe
Mm.
there is just a dynamic awakening that's just happening, that transcends across religions, that transcends across culture, gender, race. I believe spiritually, spirit is just moving, and there's multiple languages that it's being spoken in, and it's the
Yeah.
same message of love. It's the same message of compassion. It's the same message of interconnectedness. We might just be hearing it at different frequencies, but it's the same message that is being sent out. And so I'm not just felt that to say that, because there is a lot of noise that is going kind of like kind of being sent out, I feel like, in over the wavelengths or whatever. But there is a frequency that God is speaking a lot louder. And if we can just continue to lean in and listen to what we feel like God is speaking to us, I know sometimes it can feel very easy to just kind of go with what's popping right now, right? Like, I remember how I felt with the beef that came out with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I was so entertained. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, it was very entertaining, right? And sometimes it's very easy to get caught up in those types of things and kind of miss the like things that spirit might be speaking to you in those moments. And sometimes there's this like this, not even a pressure, but just an impulse to kind of move and do and speak out before you're released to do so. And so I just want to encourage you guys, like, to go with the pace of what spirit is telling you and not the pace of the people around you or what the world is trying to tell you to do or how fast the world tries to tell you how you need to move and what you need to do. And I think that that just goes across with purpose, with vision, with everything. There's just a certain pace that you have to figure out for yourself. Now, I feel like I'm kind of getting off track here. I don't know why I'm going this way, but there's just a certain pace and a certain rhythm that you begin to tap into. And I think maybe we talked about this on the podcast. Now that I'm bringing this up, did we or did we not talk about this rhythm? Ryan, just remind these people. You remember what I'm talking about? We talked about this rhythm that you begin to get into when you start listening to spirit and your purpose and all that. Yeah, go ahead. Speak to them.
Yeah, I think that you know, the thing that was coming up in my heart, and I actually want to just kind of, for lack of better words, prophesy this to somebody that's listening in, that what seemed like it failed in a prior season was really just an indication that what you were stepping out to do was premature. And because it was premature, it was birthed and it didn't have what was needed to sustain the life of it. But I just feel strongly that that season is coming back around. And like Erica is saying, wait for the right timing, because, and I ain't never been pregnant, you know, naturally I can't, you know, but nonetheless, you know, there are certain indicators that, you know, there's certain things that begin to happen that would give you a sign that something, it's time. It's time. It's time. And I feel like in this season of many of our lives, the things that seem to die prematurely are now going to term, and now we can actually give birth to the reality of the thing that we were intended to do, the thing that we were put on here to do, the thing that we were birthed to do. And if I'm giving birth to my purpose in its time, and you're giving birth to your purpose in its time, and Jeremiah is giving birth to his purpose in his time, what amazing just culmination of things begin to happen that can really bring true change, you know? And I think that that's what we have to really get into, just that rhythm. Grace has a rhythm. Grace has it's a step by step by step. Sometimes it's you know, you got to run, but it's not this kind of like flailing all over the place. It's just you got to get into the step. You got to get into the flow. You know, I know for me, even practically, you know, last night, I don't know what it was, but I just felt so strongly. Something was just on me so heavy. Y'all, I literally, and you know how to say, you got to go into your closet, but I literally went into my closet. I shut the door, cut the light off, and I laid out on my face. And when I tell y'all, I began to like boo-hoo crying and just praying for Saturday. I was praying for what I believe that God had in my heart, praying for other people that just came up in my mind. But what if I was to say, you know what, I got to do something else at that time, or I got to, you know, what could have happened or what probably happened
Yeah.
in that few moments of me being in a dark room on my face,
Yep.
giving God permission to
Yes.
use me for
Yes.
somebody else that I may never even talk to,
Mm.
that I may
Yes.
never even have the opportunity to hold their
Yes.
hands. It's
Come
a
on.
rhythm, and you got to be willing to flow.
Yes.
You got
Mm.
to be willing to flow. So
Yeah.
that's
And
just my thought
I
with
have
that.
to, because I was
But
literally talking to about flow today, where it's the the essence or the rhythm of life is ebb and flow. It is the highs and the lows. It's light and it's dark. It's a dichotomous nature to everything that we're living. And when you were in your closet, you must have woke me up at 5 a.m. because I got up before my alarm and was like, okay. So when I'm saying that even if you cannot hear what someone is doing, the speaking is happening. It's just not talking to you. And you never know, to Ryan's point, I don't have to say a word to you, but I interceded to Big G on your behalf. Something might unfold for you because what was on my heart, I went and prayed about it. And it's like when I tell you I was up at 5, I've been praying over Saturday for like the last couple of months. But I was up. Ryan woke me up. I'm convinced. Ryan got me up on my bed, okay, at 5 a.m. And I was like, you know what, God? You know what, God? I'm gonna pray over everybody. I'm talking
mm-hmm.
about
Yes.
mind, body, heart, soul, spirit, absolutely everything. Like we were just on one accord with that because I literally literally was up with that exact same energy. And it's just, but it's so difficult to be in flow. It's
Yeah.
we so often swim against the current. We swim against the flow of everything. And it's, I want Saturday to be about us imparting the, you can relax and you can
Yeah.
surrender and you can, when I tell you, you go with the flow of life, when you go with it instead of against it, just that simple concept or perception change of like you're swimming against the current. You're fighting the fight where universe and God and source are like, if you would just surrender, if you would surrender, it's gonna take you, you won't even have to work as hard. It's gonna take you down the path that you are intended to be on. But I wanted to ask this question because how how do you surrender? Like how do you discern God's voice from all the other voices? Because some of us have our mom's voice in our head. We have that critic, that person that got to us before we got to ourselves and understood who we were. Like somebody is dealing with an image that somebody else gave them of who they are. And it's difficult. I feel like it's very difficult when you are in a place of stagnation, when you are disconnected from yourself, to manifest what we want to see in life, to understand what the purpose is, to be connected to the vision, to be connected to community and other people. It's very difficult to do that when you're in that place. So how do I discern God's voice or spirit from just a regular feeling? Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I think we get it confused. We're like, we don't know how to decipher or discern like what's God's voice, what's spirit, what's that intuition, what's not. So what are y'all thoughts on that?
I know for me personally, anytime that I had to take a pretty pivotal step in life, it was the thing that I did not want to do, that had been staying
Mm.
some time. Every time, that I had to make a big change in life, it was something that stayed with me that I did not want to do it, and got me to a point. For me, I don't pray this on anybody else, but for me, it got me to a point where I basically broke down and got the clarity of one, or you may need to go home, be closer to your family, and figure out how to mend certain relationships. That's what you need to get to the next step that you've been looking for. Did I know this? Yes. But you're grown, you're out in the world, you kind of know where your family is. It's nice to kind of go for a few days. But you're like, I don't need to go stay in the same city or be, but I don't need to. That's just kind of too close. If you want to do what you believe your purpose to be, that's what it needs to be. For me, it's every time that I've had a very difficult situation it's always got me to the point of me kind of breaking down to get the clarity of, okay, I understand. But it's always stayed with me for some time. I've always kind of thought about, well, let me try this, let me try it. To Ryan's point again, you kind of wonder, why is this not working for me right now? I feel like, people are telling me they see that I have this thing, but it's just not, it's not materializing. Why is it not? And now, years later, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad it didn't happen because I didn't have what I needed to maintain it or to nurture it. Now, if I get in one, I will understand what it actually is holistically. And two, I would just have so much more respect and reverence for it. So I think sometimes, for me, again, it's always something that just sits with me for a while. That I think it may just be my nature. I'm always just kind of stubborn initially.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that I do not want to, like, no, there has to be another way to do this. No, there is no other way. You have to go through. So that was, for me, that's what surrendering usually looks like. It's always a thing that's top of mind that you're like, no, it has to be another way. It has to be another way.
Man, and I have to totally agree with that, because it was almost like Moses, where he was like, God, I know for a fact you not calling me
Okay.
out to be speaking. I got this stutter, I can't talk. You want me to speak? That's crazy. There's no way. Like, that's kind of like what my experience was, but just like not being so introverted and coming out of my shell, where it's like you kind of have to get to that point where like you're being snatched by your edges before you start to listen. And then at a certain point, I went from like, okay, all right, to you're gonna drag me kicking and screaming, to like, okay, let me actually start to seek. Let me just seek it now, instead of you constantly having to drag me by my feet. So where it's like, God, make the path clear to me. Make the path clear. And while you're doing that, make my spirit discerning enough to where I know, because at a certain point, paths will be put in front of you and you have to know which one you need to be on. And it's like, okay, cool. Make the path clear to me. And it's like, set my eyes to where I can see which one I'm supposed to be taking. And when it's revealed to me, I'm going to go. And a lot of the time it's not what you want to do. You're not going to always feel like being obedient to the call. Like for a lot of us, we hear God has been talking to us, and our gut has been saying, God has been in our gut with that feeling, that tug, that nudge that you've been holding for so long, and you just haven't been listening to it. And it's like, when that obedience gets you, when you really start to understand, this is why I'm telling you to go right and you want to stay left. Like, at a certain point, you're going to start to see and feel why you need to be away from where you are, out of the relationship, out of the job, out of the place, out of the thing. I was like, you know what, God, I don't want to, you ain't got to take me through no unnecessary lessons. Okay. No more unnecessary lessons. You promise a life exceedingly and abundantly
Come on.
beyond what I can see. And I want to be in alignment with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want my edges to stay intact. You ain't even got to snatch me. You going to show me and I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
seeking it. Like, instead of trying to discern his voice from other things, like, you silence things, you silence the noise. And it's like, and when we talk about the well. I talk about the well, right? When you close to the well, because the good book said what? That his voice is a quiet whisper, and that tell me two things. Something's got to shut up, and I got to be close. So the world and everybody else is quiet, and I got to be close to the well. Do you hear me?
I love that.
Okay. If he's talking in a whisper, I can't hear him across the room, and I can't hear him if the word is too loud. You see what I'm saying?
True.
Ooh, child.
That's true.
Come on, Kenny. I think that I think that, when you look at, the creation story, and it talks about how God breathed and man became, and oftentimes we just see it as if God was blowing just a whole bunch of wind, but with with every word that you release, if you put your hand in front of your mouth and you're speaking, there's breath that's within that wraps up every word, that's the substance, the life of every word. So if the original intent was, when God breathed and then God blessed, that he spoke with that breath. So we in our lives have to, like you said, Kenny, have to be in a position, in a posture, so that not only can we hear his words, but with the words come the breath that give the life to the words that he spoke, you know, for you and for that situation. And then, you know, just honestly, real practically, for those that are listening, some of you may be in a situation where it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm hearing. And honestly, the only thing that you need to do is to say, God, talk to me. Because the same God that can create billions of people with a different, unique fingerprint is the same God that has a unique fingerprint, a unique sound to each of us. God speaks to me different than he speaks to Erica, different than he speaks to you, Kenny, different than he speaks to Jeremiah. But I know that when he speaks, is something so unique about it. And then the last thing that I'll say about that point is that God will always give the introduction, but you have to be intentional about building the relationship. He'll always say, hey, here I am. I'm God. Now, what are you going to do with it?
Now,
So,
come on now. Because you ain't never
Y'all are
lied.
just
You ain't never lied. Because I say often that God did not create us and drop us in this planet for us to just try to figure it out on our own. He gave us an internal navigation system. He gave you
100%.
one. And you don't even have to pray for him to talk to you. He's talking to us all the
100%.
all
You taking it out.
the
You taking
time.
the words out my mouth, Kenny. You taking the words out my mouth. God is a kind God. God loves you. God will not withhold the purpose and the destiny for your life from you. Like he's going to give it to you. It's already actually within you. It's within you. That's what I wanted to speak to, is when I find myself getting out of surrender, I start getting into doing. When I'm operating into the doing parts of me, I'm trying to fix everything. I'm trying to do everything myself. I am no longer surrendered. But when I am allowing life and trusting in God and trusting in the ability that God gave me to just take the step and then allow the things to fall into place. Take the next step, allow those things to fall into place. That's where I'm truly surrendered, because now I understand, like, I just took the first step. The first thing that I felt in my gut, my sacral center, my some of y'all feel it in your gut, some of y'all hear little unction, some of y'all have little feelings or whatever, like whatever that thing is for you, like if you hear it, take a step. And sometimes that step can, maybe it might not necessarily be what you thought it was or whatever, but you took a step and allow God to meet you where you are. Then you take that next step and allow God to meet you where you are. It's never going to be this linear thing. It's never going to be this perfected thing. It is always going to be, I lay a brick and then you watch over time, God begin to just build and multiply this thing to be something bigger than what you can imagine. But God loves you. God has no desire to withhold your destiny, withhold your purpose, to withhold the things that you feel within you. And so, like Ryan said, just ask. Like he said, you have an internal navigation, and a lot of you guys, you feel it in your gut, like that intuition or whatever, like you want to call it, Holy Spirit, like it's there. Some of it is just, we don't trust ourselves enough. We don't trust what we hear enough so we don't act, and we need these external confirmations. We're like, okay, well, I need like 10 confirmations. God, give me all these signs, point to a number in the sky and all these things. And while, you know, God will speak to you in all the creative ways, he used a donkey to talk to people. Like, God can do whatever, you know? But at the end of the day, no matter how many signs you get, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust what God is telling you, then you'll never move. And so sometimes it's just about taking that one step to say, like, I don't really know everything, but I'm gonna just try it and see. And that's kind of how I went along my journey, especially like just building things and kind of just listening to the voice of God. Because in the beginning, I didn't really quite understand like how God spoke to me. But if I would get a kind of feeling, I would just try it. And if I was wrong, I was like, all right, cool. Well, I know. But I put myself out there and I did it. And the more I did that, the more I started to understand through application. Oh, okay, this is what God's voice sounds like. And this is what my ego sounds like. Okay, this is where God is.
Say it.
And this is where my ego is. And a lot of times my ego when I was in my ego moving, I found myself doing and laboring and slaving. And it was very, very difficult. Versus when I was in the river with God, it was like just doors just began to open up. God sent people from all across the world. My name was in rooms that I had no idea could have possibly been in. People just started coming in just droves. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's some, I guess, practicality is sometimes if you're not used to like exercising your own like internal navigation, then just if you hear something, if you feel a gut feeling, just try it and see where it leads you. Then take another step and see where God meets you. And the beautiful part is that like God will meet you even when you like destroy it up, like mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grace and mercy, please.
But you know,
I'm trying to tell you.
I want to say something real quick because I know Ryan has a special announcement in regards to some tickets to the healing experience. But I want to say this one thing, because what I've noticed is the more that I've trusted source and I've trusted God and I've taken those steps in the direction that I'm being called, in several occasions those were steps away from things that I thought I wanted, and not just thought I wanted, within the depths of my heart wanted these things. When I started to trust that I'm taking steps away from it, and it's there was a separation that had to happen between myself and this life that I thought I was going to live. I thought life was going to be like this. I'm committed to it. I've been living this life for years. I've been putting in energy, effort, blood, sweat, tears, love into this life, into this thing, into this person. And then when you're like, okay, I hear this and I keep hearing it. I know for me, you keep hearing the same thing. I keep hearing it. I keep hearing it. I keep feeling it. And the second you start to take steps toward it, it can be away from things that you've had for a very long time, that you love deeply, that you thought was going to be yours, a life that you thought was yours. Like there was a separation, like a little bit of a mourning or like a grieving that had to take place for me to be obedient, because the obedience was away from what I knew and what I thought I wanted. So I just wanted to say that, because those steps, it's very difficult to take those steps where you looking back at things you love, you looking back at this life that you thought you wanted. It's really hard. It's really, really, really hard. And while you're in that interim space between where I was and where God is calling me, you're in that in-between space. That's where you gotta do that work, that separation, that growth, that spiritual development, that healing. Because sometimes we want things, our wounds and our trauma want these things. We don't really want these things. My pain wants this. My highest self does not want this. God doesn't want this for me. My pain wants it though. I have to get in that space and heal myself so that when I'm looking back, I can have appreciation for I've been, but not have a deep desire to go back. Like I'm going forward. It's like it's a very tricky space, and that's why having the right people around you when you are in that space to keep your eyes forward. Because boy, looking back, it will slow you down, it will stop you, and you'll be stagnant. And some people, how many times you talk to a person that found themselves back in the thing, that the toxic situation, person, whatever it was that was making them sick, that was hurting them, they find themselves back in that space because it's hard. It's hard to be obedient, and it's hard to follow God and where he's telling us to go.
It's hard.
I'm just saying, I just want to say that because child, listen to me.
Can we also talk about how messy that entire chapter is? Speaking of going back to a toxic situation, one of y'all said that healing is not linear, and even when you get to wherever the next level is, it's still you like still. Well, one thing that I've taken from my messy situations is usually wherever you're going through that point in time, wherever you learn, when I tell you, it gives you like the clearest vision of how to navigate life with that new information. So yes, you may have been down for a second, you may have been getting a little messy, but when you get out of it, you're like, oh, okay, I see why I had to learn this before I got out into the world.
Yes.
and start being in people's faces. Now I'm able to actually pick up on particular cues or maybe discern particular personalities. I've seen this before. This didn't really end well for me. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Let me kind of, all right, nice to meet you. I think that's as far as we go. So I think for sure, to everybody's point, the healing is a very, very messy journey. Yeah.
And I'm gonna just add this last piece. I think I was looking at the story from the Word the other night about hold back the tears on this, the woman with the issue of blood,
Yes.
and I just want to go along with what you said, Jeremiah, that sometimes healing is messy. Sometimes healing is downright bloody. And for the way that God showed this to me was that, yes, she dealt with this issue of blood for 12 years. She had tried to go to all of these different doctors and physicians and relationships and all of this to try to heal, to dry up something that had to stay open until she can connect to true healing. Nothing could heal that issue until she could connect to the true source of her healing. And the thing that stood out to me was, for many of us, that 12 years may represent generations because life is in the blood. And things that have passed throughout our bloodline that now we are now dealing with, that we're saying that we're trying to find all of these different, how did this happen, where did this come from, why am I dealing with this, why is this thing even in my life? But the thing about it is that she heard about the source, and she said within herself, within the very thing where the blood was flowing, within the very thing where the mess was happening, where all of this was going on, she said within the very thing that if I can just connect. And so with the flow, with the crowd, with the everything that was telling her that you cannot do this, you'll never get to this. And the only thing, it wasn't like she had a conversation. She just touched
The him.
Just the him, just something that is a part of that source. And if all of us can just find a way to touch something that's connected to the true source of our healing, it will command the attention of the healer. Jesus is the one who said, "Who touched me?"
Yes.
She did that.
That is
She did that. He didn't do that. He's not the one that turned around and said, "Okay, I see you crawling. I see you getting through the mud and all of this kind of stuff." She touched and she drew out the healing that she needed to not only cure that 12 years of this issue, but for many of us, generations of things that have flown within our bloodline. Say within yourself that I'm going to connect. And I think that that's the true beauty of what's getting ready to happen on Saturday, is that there are going to be people that have said within themselves that in the midst of all of this bloody flow, I'm going to connect. And you connect to the healing that you need. Not somebody else's responsibility. You do whatever you need to do to connect to it. So that's my encouragement to us all. We got to do what we need to do.
I got to breathe through that. Wow.
Hey, Ryan talking fast.
Okay. Listen. We say this every time we do a live, and I do not think that you all understand. And I think what Ryan is saying is so profound that even if you don't know the source well, you will be in a room with people that have put so much time in forging that connection with Source and with God, have gone through fires to learn how to be obedient, who have fallen in holes and learned these lessons and gotten these scars and gone through these healing journeys and still going through it, and know that at any point in time I can fall on my face in a safe place and know that all of me is going to be held, all of me is going to be understood, and all of me can be healed. Everyone that we're putting in front of you understands that. And if we have the pleasure, the absolute outright pleasure to be a him, something that is a conduit, get this energy. I want you to come get it. Come get it. We are not supposed to hold this. We are not giving this so that we're safeguarding it. We safeguard this every day for you to come get it. So come get it. Come get it from me, because we're full. We have excess. It's abundant. Come get this from us, because we don't need all of this. The fruit has fallen from the tree. It's on the ground. Come get it. Come get it. And to reiterate, Ryan, you have to come get it. You have to come catch it. You have to take this to the dailiness of your life, and you are empowered. You are made in an image. You can create the change that you want to see. You can live the life of your deepest desires. You are an architect. You can make it. You can construct it. And if we can give you anything, I don't care if you come in the room and you pick up a drop, you take that drop to your life. Let that teach you how to pour into your own cup. Get a drop from us and teach you how to pour into your own cup. Find people that can pour into you and not just take. Like, come get it from us. And I know that Ryan, and in the spirit of come get this from us, I know that Ryan wanted to give away 2 tickets. I know that his heart was going to do this, because it's very much a part of his posture to be a servant. He said that, and I know, without even having a conversation, that has always been your heart. Before I even had a conversation with you, I knew that. I don't know how we're going to do the giveaway. I think we just kind of really rolled past that this whole conversation. But if you guys, what I would say, and please, I will be remiss. You know, we in church. I'll be remiss if I did not say to click the drop down. If you are not following Ryan or Jeremiah or Erica, please follow. These are people who, again, are doing amazing work in the spirit, in the bridge of being Black and being in culture and understanding what's going on around us and within our culture. These people are doing the work every single day. So make sure that you follow everyone. And if you are a person, I would say, if you want to DM any one of us and you are in a situation, really go ahead.
I was just about to say, don't DM me, because I don't see the DMs that I get.
Okay,
most
great.
of the time.
So don't DM Erica. If you want to DM myself, Jeremiah, or Ryan, if you really want to be in the room and you're running into any issue where you can't, we do have 2 tickets that we are going to donate or give away to you guys. So please just DM us. Let us understand your situation and what may be hindering you from being in the space. And then we're going to choose 2 people to donate tickets to, so that whatever the situation is, if we can remove barriers and put that ticket in your hand, that's exactly what we want to do. Child, you know, I don't believe I'm crying on the internet, child. That thing just
that thing's full up.
I did not know what's coming to church tonight, y'all. I'm glad it showed up.
I'm trying to tell you. If you want to come, just to reiterate, because I know some of you guys are saying, either DM Kenny, Ryan, or Jeremiah about a ticket. We have 2 tickets that are available, and the only thing is, we ask that, you know, if we give you the tickets, you show up. Like, so for those guys who might be in another country or, you know, another state, and, you know, realistically, you know, can't make it, then allow somebody who actually realistically can to get the ticket. But don't hesitate to DM the 3 of them anyway, just to have that conversation. as
Yeah.
well, and to, connect with them.
Yes. I want to say that I am just very honored. I'm very, very, very honored. Um, I look at the people who are showing up to the space to help us facilitate. Um, I am in awe of you guys. I'm truly honored to share the stage, to lead this event with you all. It truly has been an amazing collaborative effort. As the time has been counting down, anxiety having growing, but I feel like Ryan went to his prayer closet, and I think that he alchemized that for me, and it really has turned into a true sense of excitement for what's going to take place on Saturday. So I want to say that I love you guys. I appreciate you for taking the time to have this conversation and to be in community with us. What I'm understanding, we talk so much about community, and I feel like my community is helping us make this happen, and it's truly, truly, truly a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Like, this is a beautiful community of human beings who are just postured in a way that it's astonishing. It is astonishing when we hear about all of the other in the world. There is so much beauty. There is so much spirit. There is so much compassion. There's so much empathy, and there's so much selflessness where these people are here to pour and pour and pour. And I just really appreciate y'all. I really, 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 truly do.
What
No.
she said. Thank you.
Yeah, so please don't forget to DM myself, Ryan, or Jeremiah about your tickets, and also just let us know a little bit about your story so that we can make sure that we're putting it in the hands of the people that truly need it. We love you guys, and for those that are going to be in the building on Saturday, we will see you soon. Love y'all.
Love
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.